It's Monday, 24th of February, 2025. In this evening show, we finally discuss a win at home as the 10-man Seasiders overcame Crawley Town to register our first 3-point haul since late September, and a result which stretches our unbeaten record to 11 games and leaves us 9 points off the final playoff spot. Is that a bridge too far? I'm John Aspinall, and this is Seasiders Podcast, Match Reaction Show. Blackpool 3, Crawley Town 1.
With a great tradition.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Seasiders Podcast on a Monday evening, Monday at 8 p.m. We are not at the big event at Bloomfield Road this evening, but I am joined by not one, but two, but three saddos all sat in their bedrooms spouting shite. But at least we've got the balls to do a live stream. Can't control the narrative, Jerry. Can't control the narrative. Evening, Matt, Tim, and Nick.
Evening.
Hang on.
If you want to know what I'm talking about, have a quick pop onto AVFTT and search up
Somebody was irked about something, wasn't he? I don't know why.
Someone's got sand in the vagina this evening. But yeah, Tim, what's going on at Bloomfield Road this evening? We have got a representative there, haven't we?
We have, yeah. So there's a Q&A, isn't there, with Brucey and Kieran Donnelly, isn't it? And also David Downs. So to be fair, I did actually apply to go, but I thought the cut-off was midnight. So I went to register at 7 p.m. and saw that the cut-off was 5 p.m. So that was me goosed. But that serves me right for leaving it to the last minute. But yeah, no, it should be. To be fair, I mean, Brucey, I was with Stephen Chews, who were Match Ball sponsor. So I was down at Pitchside. I sent a picture in the podcast patrons group, and Brucey was down there and was very engaging. And I think I've sent a couple of videos, haven't I, when he's been up and talking about what he does, and he is worth listening to. You know, then so when you hear him, you realise where he's been and what he's done, and how incredible it is to have somebody with that amount of experience at our football club. So quite jealous of those who are there tonight. To be honest, it will be good, and I'm looking forward to getting some feedback on it. Like I say, it's just a pity it's not a live stream. Otherwise, we would have probably had to have vacated our usual spot, wouldn't we, to accommodate that? I think. Unlucky, Jerry. Or would we go head to head?
I just forgot to apply. Nick, was it with you? I think we just forgot on late.
Exactly the same. I think we all said we were going to, and then I completely forgot till somebody mentioned it the other week. And I thought, oh, sugar, I've forgotten. And obviously it's too late by then. But like Tim says, I think, they've made it sort of clear, I think, from the, the advert that went out, it was about football. And same as Tim said, I think, Steve Bruce, you listen to his interviews and you could just listen to him all day. He's so astute in, picking up the way the game's gone. I always find myself just nodding in agreement with what he's said in his post-match interviews. And again, like Tim said, he's got so much experience. And it'll be good to see that. I think they're going to do highlights, aren't they, on the club's official site? So it'll be good to see what's said.
Matt, were you planning on going and just?
No, I wasn't. I just knew I didn't want to face the wrath of John Aspinall if I turned down the podcast stuff. So,
and the real reason
my
is
bread was buttered. And the reason is, I went to the Neil Critchley one at the start of the season or pre-season, whenever it was. And without reading the small print, I thought it was going to be another that type of event. So I thought, I'll just give somebody else the opportunity. So that's all it was, really. Honestly, it wasn't anything to do with you at all, John.
You sound like some of the couples on Bullseye after the forego the chance to go for the prize board. So we've had a great day. We'll just let someone else have a go.
That's it, exactly. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
masking the real reason. Right.
Phil Clifton's given us a few of the early answers, which is quite handy. It's like having video printer, isn't it?
Oh, cheers, Phil. Yeah, from Q&A.
Keep those coming.
On Enis, he's on championship wages, which the club is paying a substantial amount for. And the Joseph money will go into next season's pot. Does that sound like we've kind of given up on this season then?
We can't spend it You can't spend it now anyway, could we? We obviously missed out in January. I actually think there was somebody they were after at the end of January. It didn't get over the line. So it is what it is. You can't spend it at the moment unless you're going to spend it on infrastructure.
Or an out of contractor.
Sorry, I suppose you could do that, couldn't you?
Right, yeah. Phil, keep these little snippets coming. See, you don't need to be there. We're providing live exclusive access on the lounge. Right, we are here to talk about, unbelievably, a Blackpool home win. Was it September 27th, last one against Burton Albion?
I got sunburned to that one, I think, if I remember rightly.
Well, ironically, it was a strangely sunny day as well. It was a very nice day. Tim, were you there as I know you've been in the hospitality for the last couple of games, so
the pots, I just said in the green room, the pot was still on, so I was Stephen Chu kindly invited me up again, and we
got free advertising. What's going on?
he was much more
I know Chewy. I know him from school. Don't give him any free advertising.
So it was. I'm getting quite used to going up there, to be fair. But I'll be back in the north next game, I think.
Keeps getting given these freebies in hospitality, one after the other.
I had to pick up the beer tab though, so it's not free.
Oh well, that's fair enough.
Right, let's get on to the game. Starting with the starting lineup. Shift us around to, I think it's there, yep. Now, Football had this on a 4-4-2, which is, I think, was wrong. It was Tyre at a fire. In fact, let's go the three at the back. So it was Casey in the middle, Husband to the left, the fire to the right, with Coulson and Hamilton as wing backs, Morgan, Evans, Carey in the middle, and up top, Enis and Fletcher. Nick, come to you first. Very pragmatic of Steve Bruce to shuffle his pack and go against his trusted 4-4-2.
Yeah, we saw the team come out at 2:00, and me, Matt, and Jim were discussing it and trying to work out what we thought it would be, and didn't think it would be a 4-4-2. Obviously, Coulson coming in gives us a bit more of an attacking impetus going forward. And well, yeah, I thought it was a decent lineup, really. I think, Crawley at home, was it eight home draws? We tried to do something different against Mansfield, and it didn't work out in that first half. But I thought it was a pretty decent lineup, really. Obviously, we didn't know whether Baggett had got an injury and wasn't quite fit enough, or it was tactical. But as we'll come to talk about, I think it, certainly first half initially, it worked really well.
Tim, over to you. Thoughts on the lineup?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there was perhaps a little bit of a concern that we were getting too rigid into the 4-4-2. So it was good to see, obviously, building on the comeback in the last home game, that we did play it a little bit differently. I did feel that Enis needed someone up top with him, albeit, as we'll go on to talk about, not for very long. But I thought that was a sensible move, because I thought on his own last week he struggled a little bit. Did I think anybody else was a bit unlucky? I think Baggett is a bit unlucky to get dropped. But I think the problem is if you're going to go to, it's either him then or husband, isn't it? I think husband's just a little bit more comfortable maybe on his left foot. So that probably was the decider there. Yeah, I think I was overall, I could see what he's trying to do. I think we thought that Crawley would come out and pack the defence, and you could see that we were trying to get plenty of width, hopefully making the pitch as big as possible. And then give us something to play through the middle with. That's what I think his thought process was as well. So yeah, I was about as good as I could have expected, really, bearing in mind the personnel available.
Matt, one thing I noticed was we had a very strong bench. Gabriel, Beasley, Anoma, Bagot, O'Donnell, obviously the keeper, Silvera and Rob Aptus. We had a hell of a lot of options, attacking options, and good cover across the starting 11, really. Though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the bench was, pretty strong, but I think that, as soon as you saw Coulson in the lineup, you did think about that it was going to be him in as a left wing back as opposed to a left back. I mean, he played well to get his 45-minute man of the match against Mansfield or whatever it was the other week. And I think this three in midfield, I think, Carey's done well, admittedly, over the last few games, despite obviously our results being the 8 draws in a row. So it was difficult to leave him out, and he's trying to tweak it a little bit. And after 8 draws in a row, you've just got to do something a little bit different. So yeah, we sort of worked it out relatively quickly that
we lost Matt.
Needing a front person with him. And yeah, so it was just a case of Fletcher or Beasley in that position, and Fletcher has obviously sort of deserved the opportunity to be that partner with him. But yeah, I think it was pretty much almost as expected, especially when I saw Coulson in the lineup.
Tim, that's raised a very valid point there about shuffling the pack. This isn't something Critchley would ever do, deviate from his system.
Well, not Critchley Mark II, certainly. He became very dogmatic, didn't he, in his footballing belief, shall we say. But you did see it first time round. You quite often see variations between 4-4-2 and 4-3-3 and tweaks on that as well. So, yeah, I think it's just playing to your strengths, isn't it? And also looking at your opposition as to how you think the opposition are going to set up. And I think it's fairly obvious that we're going to sit deep and, but for what that came to pass afterwards, sit very deep and try and hit us on the break. And, we need, again, going back to my comment before, we just need it. For me, we need to make that pitch as wide as we could, because otherwise if you funnel it all down one route, you're gonna hit a brick wall. So yeah. I think also just the second half performance from the last game sort of really almost allowed for the team to pick itself. With Fletcher, obviously Fletcher didn't start the last game, but I think that was my view. Is effectively looked at the way they played in that second half and thought, I'm having a bit more of that. I mean, Coulson's like a revelation at the moment, isn't he? He's just everything you want from an attacking fullback.
Okay, Nick, as Tim's mentioned there, Crawley were potentially going to park the bus and try and grind out the result, but we came at them like a house on fire. Didn't allow that. Within 10 minutes, we've gone ahead. But I'm just trying to think when, obviously, we've welcomed Tyrese John Jules back to Bloomfield Road. Was his thunderous overhead kick that nearly went in before or after our opener? I'm just trying to rack my brain.
Yeah, good question. I can't. I remember it happening because things.
Does everyone remember it?
Hold your breath moments, wasn't it? Where which side of the post is it going to go? But yeah, we started really well, didn't we? I think it was Sonny Carey had the first chance and probably should have done better with it. But then we did go ahead, ball out to CJ, and as ever with CJ, you're wondering, what's he going to do? Is he going to be head down, get to the byline and try and put a cross in, but he came back onto his left foot, got his head up, and put a very good cross in. And Enis had made a brilliantly timed run, and and got on the end of it. And he's in great form for us, isn't he? Since he's signed, and I think we deserved to go ahead. And again, you start to think then, right, come on, let's build on it. Is it finally gonna be the the home win after a good start? And then we go on to go 2 up, as you'll come to talk about, and then you're thinking, right, happy days, and then they get back into it, and Fletcher gets sent off, and you think, oh, here we go again.
Just rewinding back to the start of the game. What about the attempts to kick to the north first half, Matt? Did you see that was a bit weird, or anyone? It was a bit weird, wasn't it?
I didn't really pick up on that, to be honest.
We were a bit late getting in because there was loads of searches going on outside.
Yeah.
And just as we were coming up, I heard a cheer and saw we were changing to go to shoot at the south stand first half. So I didn't see what had gone on before.
It's weird. Yeah, I forgot to mention that the searches. There was a hell of a lot of intrusive body searches before the game. It was like proper patted down. I was like, "Fucking hell, mate!" It was getting a bit personal. This, and when my sister came up, she looked a bit flustered. She was like, "I've like been not assaulted, but I've like been really thoroughly patted down." She said they were even in a hair like that.
What?
I was like, "What?" Seriously,
you don't have to worry about that, Matt, do you?
No, no, I definitely don't. No, I had me 2-1 on Thursday, but Christ, that's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, we left the pub we normally leave about 20 to 3. We do leave it late, but we always get in for kickoff. But the queues were horrendous at like in the middle of the west stand entrances. So what's that, 5 and 6 entrance, something like that. And you just sort of knew that there was something wrong, really, because they're usually quiet. So we walked all the way around to 1 and 2 in the north, and they were still queuing up to into the car park. So it was all around the ground. So obviously they've had instruction from somebody, presumably within the
ground safety officer.
Yeah. But
you do wonder whether there's something you don't hear like this. I think somebody was saying on the ABFTT, could there have been a heightened terror alert somewhere, and therefore everywhere was doing it? I don't know, but it seemed bizarre. And it was also you're hearing stories of people who were going in at 2:00 with a bag of Werthers and the flask of coffee, and they're getting like once over, and then you get to 10 to 3, and they're letting it's then become a random search. So if you're actually trying to, if as a club you're trying to deal with the demographic of the people who might cause problems, might throw something on the pitch, might do something stupid. The way they approached it was completely at odds with that, because they seem to have literally targeted everybody who goes in early, and they're like they must be like the least likely to do anything.
I mean, it was Quid as well, wasn't it? It's Quid a kid.
Yeah,
so
it's Quid a kid.
Yeah, but it was. But then you start thinking, would some of the kids who go in be more likely to have a flare or something? Because the Quid a kid could be somebody going in at 14 or 15, couldn't it? I don't know what the cut-off age was, but
very weird though, isn't it?
It's completely bizarre because it seems so over the top. Everybody, this isn't us having a dig, is it? It's just what you're hearing from everybody who's fed back. And I didn't get it because I was in the ground at 1:00 and didn't know anything about it. But there seems to be consistency of what people are saying, that it was completely over the top. And it seemed, and to be fair to the stewards, they seem to be saying it's on instruction from the club. So, I think somebody should say something, really. I mean, in fact, I think my brother asked Steve Rowland for his comment, and he said, I got it when I went in, and I'm going to ask the question. So he
comes back, wouldn't it? I mean, if there was something, whether they're allowed or obliged to say anything, I don't know. But you do think that if they're going to do this from here on into the end of the season, I mean, let's think top of my head. We've got Birmingham and Wrexham to come. Now they're the games you'd probably expect to be, a little bit more frisk happy.
Well,
but
it was almost being molested.
Yeah, well, yeah, perhaps. But yeah, I mean, Crawley at home is about as meek and mild as a fixture as it gets, isn't it? Really, it's bizarre.
But if the supporters liaison officer doesn't know,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's like
there's not much liaison going on, is there?
Exactly. Who's he liaising with? Who are they? Are they liaising with him? Clearly not. He should know.
Mm-hmm.
He should know the answers before the event.
Yeah.
Anyway,
tick box exercise. Yeah, Tony, not like BFC to not communicate. Not. Right. Whinging from our bedrooms, from our spare bedrooms over, obviously from Tim's spare wing. He has a spare wing. We all have a spare bedroom. Where were we? Game. Nick, obviously you've gone through the goal.
We've gone 1-0 up and then we went 2-0 up. It was a ball in from Albie Morgan, wasn't it? And I actually said to Jim when he kind of put the ball in, I just went, "What is that?" And then a second later, it's gone through and it's in the back of the net. And I couldn't really see what had gone on at that point. It wasn't until I saw the highlights later on that you realised it was a very cheeky and clever finish from Mr. Enis. That kind of like sort of fooled everybody. Really, it was the faintest of touches, but he completely meant it, and that's when you're thinking, right, come on, 2-0. It's against Crawley, no disrespect, but you're thinking, right, we should cruise this now. And then
the wheels came off.
Well, I jinxed it because I just said to Jim, I fancy us to get a draw out of this, the way we're going. and then that happens. They score. I think it was Coulson actually got caught in possession, didn't he? He had, don't get me wrong, he had a good game. He's great going forward, but I think he got caught in possession, and it ends up coming over to their left. And the guy's in all sorts of space just to play the ball across, and out of nowhere, it's 2-1, and you're thinking, we'd had such a good start. We could have really gone on to run away with it, and out of nothing, they're back in it.
Just as Mike said, not just Carey's shot, but just before they got that one back, Enis had missed an absolute hat-trick. He created it, to be fair, his hat-trick, and put it wide. And then you had Carey's, which I think was sometime before, maybe when it was 1-0, who basically got a clear shot and goal from the right and completely puts it.
Why did he use his left foot? I don't get it. From that angle.
I know it was bizarre.
He's right-footed, isn't he? Is he, Carey? I've seen him driving with his right.
Yeah, predominantly, because he always goes when he plays on the left. He always goes back in on himself on his right foot. Doesn't
he? Why take that on your left?
So we could literally have been away and had the game sewn up after about 15 minutes.
Let's talk about their goal. Dave Coleman's just said Tyrus should have stayed in his net, on his stroke, on his line. I thought the same thing as well. He kind of made it easy for Crawley to score. A couple of split-second decision making. It's like at Burton away, stay or go.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, he sort of came out thinking the guy was going to obviously try and beat him at a narrower angle. But I was watching it back earlier before we came on, and it's one of the. I mean, not many goals aren't. How can I put it? They're not like Brazil we play. It's usually a fault of our defence or midfield or something that creates the opposition chances. And it's just a catalogue of 3 or 4 errors that lead to the goal. I'm just thinking off the top of my head now. It was Lee Evans who went to the ball instead of staying with the man who ultimately crossed it. It was Albie Morgan and Coulson not talking to each other because one of them should have picked up the guy who scored it. It's all that sort of stuff that's really just, if you're in good form, it just sort of happens organically, I suppose, and everyone talks to each other and so on and so forth. But it was just like, the sloppy of sloppiest goals, wasn't it, really? And for that, for 5 seconds, we made Crawley look half decent, but it was all down to our sort of inept defending, quite frankly. And the fact is that Tari did go out and then he was in sort of half no man's land.
But if he'd stayed on his line, then other people have said he should have come off his line to try and close the angle then. So I don't I mean, it was mentioned in the patrons chat on the day. Yeah, somebody having a go at Tyler, and it's all about opinions, isn't it? But I said at the time, what did he do wrong? And I've seen it back, and maybe he could have made a bit of an effort to go for something, but I think he got wrong-footed by the shot anyway. And the guy hit it early, and I don't think I'm not going to criticise the keeper for coming down to try and close the angles down. He didn't know he was going to hit it like that, did he?
No.
So he was put in a situation by us giving the ball away cheaply, and listen. Sometimes he's been at fault, but I don't necessarily hold him accountable for that.
No, definitely the least culpable out of the 3 or 4 that were contributors to that, I would say. So.
Okay, so found ourselves 2-1, pegged back to 2-1. Should have been 4, as how we went 3 or 4 up in the first 20 is mental. As Di Matteo said that, and then the ref ruined it. ... Well, the 4th official, Tim. Obviously, in your exclusive vantage point, I think you're best to discuss this. A, did you see anything? B, what happened with the chat with the 4th official? Because we didn't see anything.
I was actually just briefly looking down at my phone because obviously stuff goes on in the chat, doesn't it? Because the play seemed to sort of stopped, but you obviously had their number 5, whose name escapes me, and Fletcher involved in a little bit of a tussle. But quite a few who were with me, so it is a bit of hearsay, say that basically Fletcher's arm brushes against him, and he does equivalent to somebody called Kyle Walker, just crumples over and went and completely overreacted. But the interesting thing for me, when you look at the still, I've not seen it back as a. I don't know has anybody seen a moving pic of it, or they kept it? I've not seen it.
It's just inconclusive, isn't it? You can't see.
But there's a still, and it shows the linesman is literally in line with it. He couldn't be in a better position. He doesn't signal for anything. The ref's 10 yards away and doesn't signal for anything. And then the 4th official, who must be 25 yards away, definitely 15, further than both of them, seemingly, sees something and interferes. And the ref takes that at face value. I don't think he even consulted with his linesman.
Are they even allowed to do that? That's a question that was asked on the seats where we were. I might just look it up.
I don't know. It seemed bizarre. You don't normally see that, do you? But he was very adamant. Now, sometimes people think they've seen something in the split second that we saw it back. You think, oh God, it didn't look like that. But he was, he was straight out, wasn't he, and waving about and calling the ref over. And obviously, whatever he said to the ref has convinced him. But I would have thought the ref would have then said, "Well, where's linesman? Did you see anything?" But no. And to be fair, Fletcher looks bemused. Everybody looks bemused. The crowd are bemused. And we've been had over, really, haven't we, by an Oscar-style performance from the number 5, who proceeded to get slaughtered for the rest of the game. And probably had more touches than any other Crawley player. I don't know whether they were doing it deliberately or whether it was just...
Yeah, it seemed to be that way, didn't it?
Everything seemed to go through him after that.
Charlie Barker. But obviously Charlie Barker.
Hang out of order, Charlie.
I've just looked this up. 4th officials cannot make on-pitch decisions in professional football. Their role is to assist the referee and other match officials, but does not extend to making decisions on fouls, offsides, penalties, or other in-game incidents. It does go on to say, if necessary, the 4th official can relay information to the referee. For example, if they witness misconduct or violent conduct that went unnoticed, but the foul decision always rests with the referee.
Sorry, Nick, go on.
No, sorry. He's taken, like you say, the 4th official's word for it, then, hasn't he? Because the ref hadn't seen anything because he wasn't going to give it. The linesman, normally, don't you? Because linesmen, they'll flag
like that.
Really sort of, to get the ref's attention straight away, to say that I've seen something there and it's a red card. And there's nothing from the linesman, and he couldn't have been better placed. And, there's none of their players appealing for anything particularly. So I'd stop looking, because I was just like, oh, they're both tangling a bit, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. And then you just kind of, around us, we're all just looking at each other going, did you see something? Now, what's gone on there? What have we missed? So it seems that it was only the fourth official that did. And, there wasn't much reaction from Fletcher, but then there's never much reaction from Fletcher about anything, to be fair. So that's not, you can't necessarily read too much into that, but he certainly wasn't, he wasn't sort of going mad at the ref saying, I've not done anything. So, I don't know, you can appeal it, can't you? But
was there much? Did you see anything sort of from their all as well? Because normally they run off the dugout and all the rest of it.
There seemed to be anything at all. Their guy's kind of lying on the ground, rubbing his head a bit, and it's one of those where you just think, I'll just get up and get on with it. Happens all the time.
I'm no advocate for like Americanizing the beautiful game, but when you watch the NFL, then there's all these yellow flags everywhere, isn't there? Because one of the referees, umpires, whatever the hell they call them, has seen something. And you just wonder whether there's something that can be, I don't know, there probably is something, but obviously maybe the referee is just, I don't know whether he's inexperienced or just had a bit of a grey moment or whatever. But there's just been no communication, like you say, other than the one word against, from the fourth official about the whole incident. But you just think, well, there's a linesman, like you say, that's a yard away from it. There's a referee himself, even a linesman that's on the other side of the pitch could possibly see something, but there's just nothing, is there? And it's just sort of weird, and we're all sort of scratching our heads as to what's actually happened. But, we are appealing it, and they seem pretty confident, but we all know whether... Well, so, yeah, I was going to say that everyone knows that EFL aren't really on our side when it comes to these sort of things, but, maybe that's... maybe we're actually due one for a change, but, you don't sort of hold your breath over it, do you?
Just as Conor Ruans just said, their bench went mad, in fairness, and their manager was throwing his hands all over the place. Ben, who I sit with, he did notice that. He commented that it's the bench that they were getting in the fourth. They were influencing the fourth official.
Yeah,
they were getting right in his ear, and generally these fourth officials are young lads, aren't they? Who can be a bit intimidated. I'd like to. I've seen it in youth football. The younger lads do get intimidated, and I think that's happened there. They've intimidated him, and obviously he's got another word with the ref.
Gamesmanship and all that happens, doesn't it? And I don't know whether our bench would do something similar. I'd like to think not, but it probably does. We probably don't notice it as much as what we'd like, I suppose. We're just maybe a little bit biased in that regard, but. It's where you need the referee and everybody else that's actually officiating to be a lot stronger in these sort of things and get the facts right before they do anything. If they can't say I'm not, it's like cricket. I'll use another sporting analogy. If you're not 100% sure, then the benefit of the doubt goes to the batsman. So why don't they do? Well, I'm not sure if it was 100%. I didn't see anything. I was stood there only a yard away, liner. So. All right, well, what's the worst that you can do? You can just throw a yellow out just for the sake of throwing a yellow out, can't you? But you don't necessarily have to ruin the whole game, potentially.
If there's any semblance of doubt, you've just got to, like you say, Matt, just book the pair of them, let the game go.
Or another one, sorry, my mind's going now. Or another one, rugby league, they do the old put it on report and they're going to get the video referee and then he gets banned the next game if they see it on the TV in the dugout the next day or whatever it is. So there's ways and means of doing it, but that's the FA. They're a bit old-fashioned, aren't they, or EFL?
Yeah. Mark Tunis, he said I was sat right behind the fourth official, and he called red straight away. Looked like a slap, but not conclusive. And he's also said all their bench were around the fourth official. So yeah, it was it could have ruined the game, but I'd say it galvanised Blackpool, and it could have gone one way. I would have lost the game, but it did galvanise Blackpool. But as Mike's just said there, and Connor, did you see the tackle on Lee Evans minutes later? It was straight red for them. Question. The same guy flew into Evans, studs up. So what was that Barker that made that challenge? Was it Barker who went studs up into Evans, and that was a horrendous tackle. And he did get away with it, Mike, as you said.
He
I
did,
can't
yeah.
recall whether it was or it wasn't, but and obviously Evans got his own back, didn't he? In
Evans should have gone. Evans should have gone. I was
well,
like,
yeah,
there
was a risk, wasn't there? That was the problem with it, because he basically sent that, and he did sort of mean it. I think he maybe didn't mean him to go right into the advertising hoarding, but that's where he ended up, wasn't it?
He got the red mist. Evans had the red mist, and we were lucky really to get away with that. And you've got to show a bit more.
Sometimes when you've been fouled like that, in the way that he was, then it does come down a bit.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
When a ref misses it and allows, and you feel aggrieved, then for that minute or two, you can lose the plot a little bit. He's probably also seen about what with Fletcher and as well, and probably in some respects, I quite like that he has that aggression in him, because I wasn't sure he's the type of player who really did, but I quite liked because the fact that the fans got behind him, didn't it? Like you say, it sort of galvanised. It basically showed that we were up for the fight for me.
It did, but I think also I was glad when half time came, because I think he needed it to calm down, because he was in danger of, he was probably only one tackle away from going off, and that really would have killed it, wouldn't it? We needed him on the pitch, and like you say, I think it's a combination of that really bad tackle on him and what had happened with Fletcher as well. So yeah, I think half time, and it's a funny one, isn't it? When you go down to 10 men, it's kind of like so often you see straight away the side who've gone to 10 men, they'll make that substitution straight away, maybe sacrifice an attacking player and bring a defender on. But it was still early in the game, wasn't it? To probably do.
Well, it was the tackle went off, of course, Nick.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Naturally, we shuffled the pack a bit, didn't we? Or at the end of the day, we pushed. I think we pushed Carey up a bit further.
Yeah.
To try and give Enis some support. I mean, I thought we struggled. My view was the rest of that half, we struggled quite a bit. We struggled to get hold of the ball. We struggled to make any inroads. And I was a bit concerned, to be honest. I think the possession stats must have been about 90% to them for about the last 10 minutes of that half. So I think we're all quite glad when the half-time whistle went.
Well, if we look at the stats there, with 39% of the ball, that'd probably been 50-50 had Fletcher not been sent off. But the key standout statistic there is, look at the XG, 1.4, 7 shots, 4 on target, 3 big chances. Missed 1 big chance. I don't know why that's 1. It should be 2. But fabulous first half from Blackpool up until that moment. And great to see that we can show that flexibility to change the system, and Steve Bruce can, and it really worked to treat, bar the sending off. To start the second half, talk was around us that CJ needs to come off and be replaced by Gabriel. Don't know what the thoughts were around you guys, but he's done everything that we were thinking, and again, that's good to see that a manager can see what we're seeing.
Yeah, we never really thought about it, to be honest, because we just thought, like you say, your attack has gone off already, so you've still got pretty much, the same shape of the team. It was probably just a matter of how soon it was before Enis got knackered, because he's going to do the running for 2 men, isn't he? Whereas when you've got Coulson and Hamilton on the pitch, we can on the break, be pretty good.
I think with Gabriel, it was more of his more willingness and ability to track back, I think, than
I get that, but I think certainly in the early stages of the second half, there was no. I just didn't think there was any need to change it. In fact, what they probably needed was, like you say, just a nice calm 10 minutes after the bit of the blood and thunder at the end of the first half to just get a grip again, really, and see what Crawley had, and to be honest, they didn't have a great lot. I'm glad we were playing Crawley and nobody better, quite frankly.
It was interesting that it looked at I think it was about 60, might have been a bit later, 65 minutes. It looked like he was going to bring Beasley on for Enis at that point, and I could sort of see why you might do that, because as we saw with Enis when we played the three with the two wides, he doesn't hold the ball up particularly well. I think he actually, the second half went on, he got better with it. And I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but obviously, I think Bruce changed his initial mind as to when he was going to do it when Enis has his run through. I think that put him off bringing Beasley on probably for another 10 minutes. So I could have seen the value of bringing Beasley on, but I'm glad, obviously, with the benefit of hindsight, I think Enis probably deserved that little bit longer on the pitch, and he, as that half went on, it became more and more of a nuisance.
Just forgot to talk about Albion Morgan's diving header. Mitch will kill me if I don't mention this. Another, was it a diving, stooping header from Albion Morgan that we missed to cover? But yeah, another great attempt from Morgan. Gone from strength to strength to strength for me this season. I think he's up there for player of the season, Albion Morgan.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So second half wasn't really backs to the wall stuff. I think it was just more containment. And if you look at the possession stats, they had 78% of the ball to our 22%. But we looked like the more dangerous side in that second half.
Yeah, you never really felt like, oh, there's an equaliser coming here. They've got us pinned in our own half and creating chance after chance after chance, and we need to try and do something different. I think it was, like you said, I think we contained them well, and then it's just could you take a chance on the break, and we got that chance, didn't we? With Enis going through 1-on-1.
It's Nick. It's one of those situations where you all go.
It is, and it just seemed to take. He had quite a bit of a heavy touch where he knocked it, but kept going, and then all of a sudden he's through on the keeper, and he's thinking, right, come on, put it to bed, and we can relax. And it goes the wrong side of the post, and then you're just thinking, oh no, is that going to come back to haunt us? Are they going to get a chance and score from it? And when he went off, he was knackered, wasn't he? And I've got to shout out to Sonny Carey, who I thought put a real shift in as well. I thought he was all over the pitch. The
North would have gone mental if that one had gone in, though.
I don't think I've ever seen so many people with their heads in their hands when that just crept wide.
Yeah, because I've got to mention the atmosphere as well. I thought the atmosphere was a lot better on Saturday as well. Whether that's because it's Quid a kid and there's just more people in the ground, I don't know, or a little bit of, like you say, we kind of all galvanised with what's happened with the red card. But I thought the atmosphere was a lot better on Saturday because it has been flat.
Yeah, amazing what you can do with a bit of clever pricing structure, isn't it? There you go.
It was the injustice of the intrusive body searches that got everyone fired up. With the injustice of the red card and Lee Evans putting one on there, lad. I think it was a cauldron, wasn't it? It was great to be back in an atmosphere like that, and I had a real spring in my step the next day, rather than the drudgery of the following day, following another draw. So the penalty incident, then we thought we'd blown it with Enis's missed chance hat trick as well. But Jake Beasley, came on. He really put himself about, Beasley. I know he's got a few detractors, but I thought he did a good job when he came on to. That's what I said. I think that's what Bruce was looking at, as I said before, about 10 minutes earlier. And like you said, Enis, I felt sorry for Enis because, and I'm sure Bruce would have said to him afterwards, look, I'd have loved to keep you on to try and see if you could get your hat trick. Because I don't think he's had a hat trick in his career before. And when Beasley was coming on, you could see him sort of looking over a couple of times. He wasn't 100% sure. And then when he realised, he was like, he was gutted. He was knackered, though. He was running to the ground.
It was, and I think it was the right decision. And Beasley straight away was just holding that ball a little bit better. And sometimes it's just like a battering ram. Sometimes, isn't it? And that one when he went through and Enis scored off it when he hit the bar. Sometimes it's just a bit of clumsiness, a little bit of power, a little bit of just ungainliness. But he seems to have that ability just to unsettle defenders. And in the build up to the goal, he did exactly the same thing. won the ball, and we got the ball into the box, and with the benefit of hindsight, I'm quite glad that that we didn't get the shot off, because we probably wouldn't have scored. I think I think I'd rather take the penalty than have Jordan Gabriel having a shot in that scenario. I think I've not.
Surely he would have scored, Tim. Surely.
I don't know. I've looked at it. I thought at the time he would have done, but I've looked it back and I thought it's not certain.
His first touch, he nearly trod on the ball. Have you seen it back? He nearly trod on the ball. If you watch it, he nearly trod on the ball, and that sort of allowed the defenders sort of to get back to a degree, and then sort of obviously grapple him. And I mean, I didn't really, I didn't have much confidence, I must admit, when it came to him. Although I'm trying to think, he scored a couple. It was Bolton away, wasn't it? Sorry, Bolton.
I think you've been a bit harsh. He scored a couple. He's finished.
He's just been, I don't know.
You're all tight. You're all doing him a disservice here.
Yeah,
what I did like was the referee. I like the referee let it play out to see what happened before he brought it back.
Yeah, that's fair.
With the follow-up shot, that could have quite easily have gone in, and then he brought it back, which I thought was good refereeing.
Not sending him off wasn't good refereeing, though.
No, you do.
Even yellow.
Double jeopardy or something. I don't know what.
We were talking about this and saying, perhaps it is, but it's a yellow at least, isn't it? And I echo what you said about the ref. That red card. You think it could have ruined the game. He actually got that right with letting the play go on, because they do it with free kicks, don't they? And then pull it back. And then it went to, was it Sonny who had the shot? And then you think, oh God, have we missed it? And then you realise he's pulled it back for the penalty. And it was, because again, anywhere else on the pitch, the ref blows up straight away and it's a free kick. So it was the right thing to do, and fair play to him. And thankfully, Evans dispatched it, and we could finally relax.
In football, double jeopardy refers to a rule change designed to prevent teams from being punished twice for the same incident when a defender commits a foul inside the penalty area, and this is the key point, while making a genuine attempt to play the ball.
Not really genuine, was it?
No.
Well, no attempt whatsoever.
Not when he's pulling it back.
He should have gone, but he didn't. But the key thing was that Lee Evans dispatched that penalty. And what a penalty it was. Right in the corner. The keeper's gone the right way, Tim. It has to go in that location in the goal, else the keeper saves it.
Yeah. And I was wondering who would take the penalty before, because Beasley looked like he wanted it, and he got shooed away, didn't he, by Evans? But Beasley was the first one to get hold of the ball. So
I didn't notice that.
Every credit to him. I think he fancied it himself, but I would have been quite concerned, I think, if he was the one with it.
Yeah.
Where I had just sort of a modicum of confidence in Evans, and to be fair, I don't think he could have placed it any better if he tried, could he? Mm. Well, he did try. I mean, that's probably a stupid expression to use, but you know what I mean. He couldn't have put it anywhere better than he did.
No, good finish.
And what a release in the stadium when that goal went in. It was a great moment. I think that game is one of the greatest games of Bloomfield this season. Anyway, it was a big release, and I think they probed a bit, didn't they, for the final 10, 15 minutes or 5 minutes of injury time, but I don't think there was any chance they were going to get back in the game. As Matt said, they were very, very poor side.
Yeah, I think it was, like I said before, we never really felt like, we're under pressure here. There's a goal coming in. It was just such a relief, wasn't it, when that penalty went in? It's 5 months in the making, isn't it? That result, we've been turning up thinking, could this be the game? Could this be the game? And it kept not happening. And finally it did. And then, last week I think you asked me about is the season done? And I said pretty much, yeah. If you listen to your head rather than your heart, and then you can't help looking at the league table again all of a sudden. Can you go, 9 points if we beat Stockport? But no, I think I'm still going to be sensible and say I think we'll fall short. But
There's a little flicker now.
There's a flicker again.
Rather than being extinguished, there's a little flicker.
There's a little flicker.
It's so annoying, isn't it? Because you know that. I mean, eight draws.
It's only a pilot light, I think. I don't think.
Yeah,
that's a good one. That Tim. Yeah.
I mean, eight draws in a row, and you just think 3 wins out of that, and we'd be right on the coattails, wouldn't we? But it is what it is, and we've just got to see where we end up. But
we were saying before the game, weren't we, Matt? You know, if someone asked you, what a Blackpool this season, you say, well, we're a mid-table side, and that's pretty much where we are. And then you win, and you start to think, oh, right, maybe. But I think we've got to be realistic that Crawley were poor, weren't they? Don't get me wrong, we absolutely deserved the win. But we've got a tough test coming up on Saturday at Stockport, haven't we? But we've had tough tests away all season, haven't we? At the sides are up there, and we've done really well. So, sure.
And then I think have we got 4 home games in a row or something? Oh no, we've got Barnsley as well.
Sorry.
And then it's about 3 or 4 home games in a row, isn't it? So, yeah, with our great away form and our obviously now great home form, the season could well go into May. Who knows?
As Mike said, Blackpool's season is never done. Although
no, it's normally feast or famine, isn't it? At Blackpool, we're at one end of the table or the other. It's not often we're talking about finishing mid-table. So it's the Blackpool way. Who knows?
Bison's keeping it real as
Bison's
usual.
Bison's not a cat in hell, Chad. Yeah, you're probably right, mate.
Keeping it optimistic.
Yeah, this is a good conversation point. Big Dog Walker, we looked better without Apter, to be fair. I even forgot all about him.
I don't know whether that's because of him or it was just the way that we galvanised because we're going down to 10 men. I mean, I think Apter's been a big player for us this season, and I think he could have done a job if he was playing. I don't think we were better. I don't think he's the reason. Listen, we're playing probably one of the worst teams in the league, and I genuinely think we'd have won about 6-0 if we hadn't had Fletcher sent off. And I think Apter, if he was playing, would have been a great part of that. I think probably when you're down to 10 men, you need players who are going to get behind the ball and track back, and that's not Apter's strong point anyway, is it? But
other teams have figured Apter out, says Dave Coleman.
I still think he's got a part to play Apter. There'll be games when, if it's not happening for CJ or whatever.
It was great. Was it Huddersfield or Charlton? I mean, there's that many draws where we've come back. I forget. I lose track as to which ones are which. But when he came on when the 3 changes were made, he was fantastic.
Yeah, you're going to have, like David said there. Teams they'll target Apter, won't they? So often we see teams double up on him. So every time he gets the ball, he's got to beat 2 men to make something happen. But he will try and make it happen, and when it does, he'll either score or provide an assist. So I still think he's got a big part to play in the season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's do player ratings. I think they're worthy of being rated for this game. Let's go from let's go clockwise from you, Nick. Harry Tyra.
Like Tim said before, I wouldn't criticise him too much for the goal. I didn't think he had a right lot to do other than that, really, in the game.
And at least he could kick a ball, unlike their goalie.
Yes, he could. I will give him a 7.
Tim, Odella Fire for you. He only got scored 6.8 there, which is a bit harsh by Fotmob.
I think it's incredibly harsh. I think he's a great player. I love watching him. I love the way
it's a bullshit score.
He'll turn a player to go down the line, and the number of times that comes off, and how strong he is. He doesn't make many mistakes, does he? I think Jordan Gabriel must be cursing the day we signed him, because it's massively affected the number of games that he's been able to get under his belt this season. And he's a utility player as well, and you can play on the right, you can play part of a back three, you can play part of a back four, you can play right back.
Yeah, it's a great point, Tim. Yeah,
it's just A+.
Yeah, let's do the back three then. Matt, you can have Ollie Casey.
He almost didn't notice him really, because it was just he's been so consistent, hasn't he, this season? There's occasions where he gets caught with a bit of pace lacking when he's trying to recover. But generally speaking, I don't know whether it's just his positional play that's got better as a result of that not happening as much as it did the previous year, certainly. But the lad just seems to be, pretty solid every week now, which is great. So, I mean, I'll give him 8.
Okay, Jimmy, husband, Nick, again, equally comfortable in that back three, and I thought he did a good job in there again.
He did, yeah. I'd probably echo a lot of what Matt said for Casey, for Jimmy on Saturday, and I'll give him the same score.
Tim, let's go to the left-hand side of the pitch. Hayden Coulson, I bet he's buzzing this formation's back.
Yeah,
but yeah, a great performance.
I love him. I think he's when he's performing. It's just a great player to watch. There's nothing to him. When he was man of the match of the week, can't come up. He's like a real streak of the imperial piss. But God, he's got a heart. He's got the heart of a lion. I don't think he's quite a 9, but I'm going to go 9-. But I think really enjoyed watching him play.
He certainly adds a new dimension to our play on that flank. Matt, over to you. CJ Hamilton, the sacrificial lamb at half time. It was the right call. Yeah,
it was. So, it was sort of, I don't know, almost on the cards that it was going to be the play to get hooked, really. Because you just need to be a bit more disciplined, don't you, I guess, in that particular role when you're down to 10 men. So it was arguably going to be him that was going to be hooked. But, I don't know, 7 out of 10, really, just for being as consistent as he was for the first 45 or at least 35 minutes till we went down to 10 men.
Set the first goal up as well, didn't it? It was a good ball.
Yeah, of course, yeah. He's left foot cross, yeah, so good ball in. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Nick, let's go across the centre of the park. Albie Morgan, you can have doing what he does week in, week out. Superb.
Yes, exactly that. Superb. Obviously, got the assist for the second goal.
Nearly got a diving header.
Nearly got the diving header. Yeah, I think he's been great since he's come back, and another very good game on Saturday. I will give him. I'll give him a 9.
Booted the ball away. I like his post-goal celebrations as well. Yeah. Kicking hoardings, booting balls away, holding his mouth. Tim. Lee Evans. Guile and... What's the word? Give us a superlative.
Superlative. I didn't think he was quite up there with Morgan or Coulson. Sometimes he slows the game down a bit too much for me. But good penalty, good show of aggression when required, that just kept in the right side of sending off, and basically set the tone, I think, for the rest of the game. So 8+.
Matt, over to you. Sonny Carey. Bison says man of the match, tremendous engine.
Well, yeah, I'm not quite sure what this FOT mob do on a Saturday afternoon, but 6.1 seems very, very harsh for me.
I think it's some sort of robot scoring based on.
All right. Well, I'm not Sonny Carey's biggest fan, admittedly, but he's been much like his red air, he's been like a Duracell battery over the last few days, a few games rather. So his energy is just fantastic. And he's trying to push that midfield forward for us, or support the front striker, whichever position he's asked to play in. And I don't know what his contract position is, and I'm being hyper cynical here, but he's certainly doing himself no harm in terms of looking at Steve Bruce will be thinking, actually, there's a player here. And we've had this conversation a million times that we've said, like, he must be the best trainer in the club to get a lot of picks ahead of certain other players on a Saturday afternoon. But in fairness to the kid, he's done really well the last 5 or 6 games. So he definitely deserves his spot. So, yeah, he's an 8+ for me, really.
Okay, Nick, you can have the main man, Niall Enis. And has anyone just been going through the day today and that song's just popped in the heads at random moments?
Yeah, the North are in full voice with that, weren't they? Obviously, he gets 2 goals. He got the sponsors man of the match. I think it's not a bad shout for the Bison said for Carey, because I'd echo that. As I said before, he was all over the pitch. Obviously, with Enis, he's missed a couple. It could have easily have been 4 as it was 2. But nevertheless, 2 very good finishes. Really good header and great run for the second, and a very cheeky touch. To put us 2-0 up and put a hell of a shift in after we've gone down to 10 men. He was dead on his feet at the end there. So I will give him. I'll use the fielding play rating system, and I will give him a 9+.
Can I just add as well? He came up to the lounge afterwards, and what a nice lad. He some of them are a bit shy and don't quite know what to say, but he was buzzing. He was quite witty. He stayed for ages signing everybody's stuff, and his mum was up there and clearly proud as punch for a lad as well. So he looked like, I wasn't sure he really wanted to be here. Maybe the first couple of times I saw him, but having seen him up on the podium, my respect for him's gone up a lot. I think he looks like a really, really nice lad, and what a pity he didn't get the hat-trick, but well deserved 9+.
Wasn't a great moment at the end as well when the whole North was singing his song, and Silvera was like, he was buzzing for him, wasn't he? He was absolutely loved. Silvera was as happy as Enis. Yeah. You could see the smile on his face. It's like, it was heartwarming to see that. And,
well, he probably hasn't had a song sung about him before, because he was at Stoke. Would he have had a song? I don't know, but
probably not a flattering one anyway.
No, he was asked about it, and he just said it's brilliant. You as a striker, you want to score goals, and you want to win games for teams, and that's what he did for us on Saturday, wasn't it?
Where's he from, Tim? Just out of interest.
I don't know where he's obviously, other than he's from Stoke. I'm not too sure.
From Stoke? No, I was just thinking.
I don't know whether he's from Stoke. Obviously, I've not looked at his bio.
Okay. Right, Matt, over to Ash Fletcher. Very harsh to be sent off, and I think Steve Bruce said he hasn't got that sort of thing in his DNA, so he's not that type of player, and for him to get sent off, he's been in a good run of form, so you can't.
Jokingly, you could say it's the first target is it for a while, but that's the problem with
that's
him.
That's harsh, Matt. I'm calling you out as harsh again.
Yeah. Oh dear. I don't know what to say without really sort of being uncomplimentary. He's a curiosity, isn't he? Let's be honest. But anyway,
I think he's done well recently, though.
He has done well recently, and I think Enis and Fletcher, I think it's a decent partnership. It's not. Don't get me wrong. It's not Bamber and Sinclair, but it is what it is, and it's very functional at a League One level. And I think we've got Enis. We've got somebody who definitely knows where the back of the net is, and Fletcher can certainly keep a centre half occupied. So, between the two of them, we might just, who knows, we might just get some more home wins, thankfully. But in terms of a scorer, Fotmo would probably get it right. I don't know what you could do with 35 minutes of football, 5 out of 10, isn't it, really, I guess. Mm.
Should we do Gabriel as well, since he had half a game, Nick?
Yeah, we can do. I think, like you said, it was the right thing to do to bring him on. Nearly scored. I will give him a 7+.
And he would have buried that chance into the far corner. Manager rating, not done this one before. I think Steve Bruce deserves a mention the way he set up this game and the way he's controlled the game, given the forces that were against us, coming from the fourth official, and he also got booked him, didn't he?
He also was stoking the crowd up as well, wasn't he? At the end, if you noticed, he was.
Sorry, what was that?
He was stoking the crowd up, wasn't he? At the end, just towards the end, as he like really get behind the lads to get this over the line. I think he was really proud of the way that they notched that win, because it must have been a bit of a monk on his back as well, mustn't it? That not so long. But yeah, I'll give him an 8+. I think the formation change, the fact that he's making changes at half time and brings Beasley on. I think he did everything right, and I think you said it before, John, didn't you? You're thinking we need him, we need that, and he's thinking the same way, which is it's a lot better than having a manager who you can't fathom why the hell he's doing things and why he's not playing certain players and why he's not playing certain formations. It's quite refreshing.
It's just a shame that in that period he was missing, that none of it seemed to rub off on his assistant, really, isn't it?
No. And he's been unlucky. He's been so unlucky with Bloxham as well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I think if Bloxham had been playing the last 2 or 3 weeks, I think we'd probably have another 3 points than we've got.
Could be a blessing in disguise, this, though, because would be stuck with playing. I say stuck. We'd probably be playing 4-4-2 forever. And I think this has now illustrated that the squad has got and the players have got the flexibility to play this system. Where, if Bloxham had been available, we may not have trialled it. So these things all happen for a reason.
And Bloxham in that right side of a front three maybe could work. It's another option, isn't it?
Well,
he does like to maraude down the wing.
Yeah, my score for Bruce, I think I'd go 9. I think it was the right call for the formation, and like Tim said, it was then the right call to make the change at half time, and then his other subs as well were bang on as well at the right time. Like you said, it's kind of. You just sort of you kind of think it, go, we need to do this, and then it'll happen, and it's quite refreshing to see, isn't it? So I thought he got it all right on Saturday, and fair play to him. I think he's getting the most out of the players. Look at Sonny Carey at the moment. If you'd have said probably 7, 8, 9, 10 games ago, do you think we should renew his contract? I think the majority of Blackpool fans would have probably said no. And I think it still divides opinion. It just, if he could have a couple of goals, it's like on Saturday, if he gets another one on Saturday or another 2, that's what you want to see. I think then it's not in any doubt, because he's got the engine and he's getting the ball forward. It's just if he can add goals to it. And I think he's another player who is buzzing off having Steve Bruce as a manager, and he's getting the best out of him.
Okay. Stockport preview. We've got Stockport County coming up on Saturday, a game that we've not had for God knows how long, must be 15, 20 years perhaps. This was a mainstay for those of a certain vintage visiting Edgeley Park. That game is back on.
Friday night it used to be, didn't it?
Jim Gannon, Big Kev Francis, Andy Preece, who we signed.
Danny Begara as manager.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Edgeley Park, Pie and Peas, Small Boys in the Park, 4-4-2. So people in the comments are asking who's going out the panel. I'm going. 4 of us going. I think you're going, Nick, aren't you?
I am, yes. I'm the coach from Bolton.
And me.
Yeah.
Not a full house. I've double booked with a gig, I'm afraid. So I'm in a gig on Saturday night. But it's all for charity, so it's all good.
I've got a bit of an admission. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was thinking, why have I bought these tickets? It's going to be a big waste of time. But that game against Crawley has reignited me. And it's going to be
football,
It's
a pity we got mate, in some respects, if we had 3,000 or 4,000 there, we'd probably lose, definitely, wouldn't we? Where
yeah.
Although we are behind the goal, which is better because you had been stuck down that side bit, hadn't you? for other fans earlier in the season. So I think they've increased the allocation slightly. What did we get? 1,200 or something like that. So at least we're behind the goal. And we should go there with confidence as well. Be interesting to see what he does. Well, what happens with the appeal for Fletch? Because obviously, if we don't win that, then we've got to find a replacement. So whether he'll just stick Beasley in, will he go as attacking with it being away? Possibly not. We maybe go back to 4-4-2 because they're doing well still, aren't they? Stockport. I thought they might drop off when Louis Barry, went back to Villa.
Lost to Cambridge at the weekend though, and
they did, yeah. And
their talisman Callum Connolly sent off.
I was going to say he got a red card, didn't he, or 2 yellows, whichever way it was. Yeah.
Yeah, they lost because I had them on my coupon.
Put them on again.
That's why they lost. But prior to that, they've been doing well. But like I say, we've got a decent away record, so we should go there with confidence. Are you going to ask for score prediction, John?
Yeah, I had my eye at the table. Yeah, they were the fourth on 57. I was just going to have a quick look at their home record. Okay.
I'm looking at, other than the loss to Cambridge, I've just been scrolling back. That's right. And they've been doing pretty well, haven't they? They drew with Bristol Rovers, but then, they've beaten Barnsley, they've beaten Orient, they've beaten Shrewsbury, they've beaten Crawley, they've beaten Reading.
So they've not played anybody yet then?
Played 16 at home, won 10, drawn 3, lost 3, goals for 27, goals against 16. But we are one of the best away sides in the division. We're fifth, seven wins away from home, scored 26.
The thing is, as well, I know we've been how can I say, disappointed with our amount of draws that we've had, but from the players' perspective, they'll be thinking, unlike us miserable buggers, they'll be saying, well, we haven't lost for however many games or whatever. We're on a decent run, 1 loss in 13, is it? Or something like that, So they should be confident, especially, like you say, with the away record as well. So hopefully we'll at least get something at Stockport, I'm optimistically saying.
Another good thing is no pressure on us whatsoever. Pressure will be heaped on them. They're in and around the playoffs, and pressure does a funny thing at those sorts of times. This time in the season, they've been in it all season, and it'll be playing on their minds. Whereas we can just go for it, can't we? What are you laughing
at?
The
new optimistic John.
Yeah. It takes one win.
Yeah, you wait until next Monday's pod.
You've got dick for That's it. Season's over. I don't know why I bothered going.
I'm going to set the ball rolling then, because the defensive linchpin, that is Callum Connolly, will not be playing for Stockport. Blackpool will mirror their result against Crawley Town and will win 3-1. Nick.
I think as well to mention, their keeper has got injured, so I think they've got backup keeper at the moment. So unless they sign someone on loan, that could go in our favour. You know me, John. I'm always optimistic. I'll go 2-1 to Blackpool.
Tim, keeping it real usually, or are you changing?
I think our extended run of not getting beat is coming to an end, unfortunately, on Saturday. 2-0 defeat.
It reminds me. Do you remember when we went on a massive unbeaten?
Anytime anybody gets slightly optimistic, we come down with
we do. Tim's probably the most, realistic of us there. Really,
they're a good team. They're at home. We've got, if we're going there with Bloxham and Fletcher up front, and we had everybody available, maybe I'd think, but I think we're a bit light up front for me.
Yeah.
Bloxham might be back. Who knows?
I think well, based on what he said, to be fair, it is over a week, nearly 2 weeks ago now. He said 3 to 4 weeks. I think Peterborough's the realistic game, isn't it, for him?
Yeah.
Bloody hell, Tim. Mood killer.
A realist. I'd love to be wrong.
He's hedging his bets here, Matt, isn't he?
No,
He is. I'll go for a Desmond 2-2. That seems to be one of our favoured scores this season, doesn't it? So we'll go for that. It
does remind me of that. Do you remember the Jason Caton era when he was in net? We had a really good unbeaten run. I think it was like 13, 14 games, and that came to a close when we went to Crewe away. Similar sort of ground, similar attendance. We had a good following, and we went there with positivity. So David Coleman says 3-0. Anyone else before we go?
Or a loss?
Yeah, which way around?
0-3, Tim. That's the away score.
Okay.
If you were under 4-1.
Matthew Warren is even more optimistic.
Right, I think we'll leave it there, gents. An hour and 15, Nick. It's flown by, hasn't it?
It has. I didn't want to stop us after an hour because I thought it's flowed quite well. So
yeah, right. Glad to know you've. We get the stamp of approval with the timing, so 75 minutes in.
It's only a one-off.
Takes you about an hour and 15 to get to Stockport, so it's perfect length, really.
It is.
There you go. we aim to please. Yeah, this will be out on the audio pod quite soon. Do like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube and all those episodes. Thanks for watching. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for input, everybody. And up the pool. Let's keep this promotion bandwagon going. Up the pool.
Been involved in 2. Can he make 3? Not on this occasion. Well taken by Walsh. Davis is on the far side. Ainscough coming square. That's the ball. That's a good try!